Hello there, Mad Mike here, and welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to dive into another episode of Movie Spotlight, and this time we're going to talk about a film that I a lot of people know about, so it kind of doesn't necessarily fall into the standard stuff that I usually try to do with this series, but it's a movie that I feel like a lot of people haven't taken the time to appreciate and see, and that is Interstellar from Chris Nolan. And this this movie is my favorite Christopher Nolan movie out of all the ones that he's done, out of the Batman movies, out of Inception, Dunkirk, all those films, Memento, all those films. I love Interstellar. Interstellar is one of my favorite science fiction films, period, because I think it takes a very realistic sort of look at certain elements of theoretical physics. And that's kind of the hardcore science fiction person in me talking, but the idea is still there. But the thing about this film is that when it came out, there was a lot of stuff around it. It was Nolan's next big film. He had done Inception. He had done Dark Knight Rises the year before. So we were interested on what he was going to do next, and everything was hyped up for this film. You have an all-star cast. You have Matthew McConaughey in the lead. You have Anne Hathaway. You have Michael Caine. You have Jessica Chastain. You have Casey Affleck. You have so many amazing actors in this film, and they all really do a very good job at portraying their characters. Casey Affleck you can kind of write off a little bit, but he does have some decent moments in it. And Topher Grace, too, actually has a small role in the film. But it's a movie that I think if you're a hardcore science fiction person, if you're a fan of movies like 2001 or Blade Runner, or stuff that kind of takes a bit more of a bit more interesting tone, or stuff like The Martian too. Actually, I forgot Matt Damon's also in this movie. There's so many actors in this movie that everybody knows, and I feel like a lot of audiences were underwhelmed by it because it wasn't this huge, sci-fi extravaganza type of film. And that's kind of the thing with this movie is that it doesn't hold your hand in terms of, it doesn't over-explain everything in terms of, or actually I shouldn't say that. It does over-explain some stuff a little bit, but, it gives you a very kind of not a cookie cutter, but a very plain, type of information for what you are seeing on the film, because they go into the stuff about black holes and time dilation and stuff like that, which I thought was really interesting to give it kind of a human spin, because again, a lot of those things are just talked about in regards to things about theoretical physics and how certain things work, but to see it actually put to screen and have it affect characters is very interesting. Now there's a specific scene in the film where and this is really where I started to love this film, and they go to basically they're searching for a new planet for humanity because the old planet's kind of not doing so well. So Matthew McConaughey and Anne Hathaway and a few other characters, they go to this planet that they have decided is suitable for human life. It has water on it, and they land on this planet. But the problem is it's so close to this black hole that for every hour they spend on this planet, a year passes back on Earth, because that's how the time dilation thing works. So the closer you get to the black hole, the higher the time dilation, so the more time goes by. And or the more time goes by outside of the time dilation, and the people that are inside of it do not experience it the same way. They experience it in a lot more compact period of time. So they wind up having a mechanical failure, and they get stuck on this planet for so long, and 20 years passes outside. And then when they finally make it back up to the ship, the guy that they left there, he kind of spent some time outside of his little cryo chamber thing that he had, so he's kind of aged. And Matthew McConaughey starts going through all of these recordings that were being sent to him from Earth of his daughter, and now he realizes that when he left, she was just a kid. She was like 10 years old, and now she's like a grown woman. She's in her 30s. She's played by Jessica Chastain, and it's such a gut-wrenching moment to watch Matthew McConaughey, and he does a great job in that scene. Where he's just crying, like he realizes, like, oh my God, what have I done? What have I missed in my child's life? Like, she's grown up and become an adult, and I'm not there because of a fuck up, because of a fuck up on a ship, and I'm only 20 hours older than I was when I left the ship, and she's a grown woman now in her 30s, and it's such a great moment in that film, and it's just a film that kind of compounds that as it goes on, because now there's like, it's the mission. The whole thing is the mission. They're supposed to save humanity. That's the idea of it, and I kind of love that idea, the way that the film portrays it, because this is like, we've pushed everything of humanity to its brink, to try and save everybody, and that's kind of, you're pushed against the wall. I like that aspect of the film, and again, I have to give it to Matthew McConaughey. He did a great job in this movie. The visuals in this movie, the way that they kind of make it feel like this is something that could be built today. The aesthetics of all the stuff that's being done. It looks a lot like stuff you would see in NASA or things like that. There's some stuff. Obviously, it's supposed to be a little bit in the future. It's supposed to be, kind of maybe like 10, 20 years ahead of like where we are, but I really do like that. I like Matthew McConaughey's character, because he's kind of this guy that's kind of trying to redeem himself after failing initially, because he failed at NASA originally, and then he kind of comes back to try and redeem himself and save his family, save his kids. And ultimately, there's a moment at the end of the movie too, which I won't give away, where it's another kind of gut wrenching thing, where like he sacrificed everything he has, but he at the same time, there's this shot that he has where he's kind of back where he's supposed to be at the beginning of the film. He's talking to somebody and he's back where he's supposed to be. They're mirror shots that they do, where he's sitting on his porch and he's talking to, at the time, his father-in-law at the beginning of the film, and then at the end of the film he's sitting on a porch somewhere else and he's talking to somebody else, but it's a mirrored scene, and it's really, really interesting to see. I love this movie. If you love hardcore science fiction, if you're a big fan of stuff like 2001, I can't recommend Interstellar better, even higher than it already is. But it's the thing. At least give it a watch. Even if you're not really into it, give it a watch. It's a Nolan film. A lot of people really enjoy it. And again, I know this is a film that a lot of people know about, but again, I feel like it's a film that kind of gets glazed over. Everybody always raves about, the Nolan Batman films or Inception and stuff like that. I think this film outdoes all of those. Honestly, it hits me so much that I love the human elements. I love the science fiction elements. I love the way that it portrays this kind of struggle for humanity to survive, and the twists and turns in the plot. I love all of it, and again, it's something that I can understand people not liking if they don't like the hardcore science fiction stuff. But if you're a fan of that, I would highly recommend this film. But I want to know what you think. Have you seen Interstellar? Do you know of? You probably know of it, but have you've sat down and watched it? What do you think about it? Put your thoughts in the comments below. Again, I'd like to know what you're thinking. Hit the bell for notifications. Hit the like button. Subscribe, and remember, I live my life free of compromise. Do you?